This community is not just corporate. I get to interview D1 collegiate athletes. I get to talk to Olympians, but I'm really excited to talk with this pair because of the amount of hope that they carry in their story.
So my name's Kinley and I'm a level 8 gymnast. I am 10 years old. I do trampoline and tumbling and double mini.
So it started when Kinley, she was tumbling and she hit the wall. She ended up with a concussion. Kind of after that is when we noticed she really started struggling with tumbling. But in the middle of her back tuck, she would just stop, like she would fall on her head. It happened at one meet. I was afraid she was gonna hurt herself. By the time we got to February, could not go backwards at all.
I just wouldn't go for any of my backward skills. I started to get all emotional. I tried to get a drink of water, but when I got up to the line again, I just feel like, like crying so hard because I couldn't pull myself together. I'm thinking to myself, I'm done with this. I'm done.
What were some of the things you had to learn in order to really find your confidence?
One thing I really had to learn is...
Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of the PerformHappy Podcast. And I have some guests with me today who are very near and dear to my heart. I was just telling them that I get to interview D1 collegiate athletes. I get to talk to Olympians, but I'm really excited to talk with this pair of people today because of the amount of hope that they carry in their story. So Kinley Warrick and her mom Allyson are here to share their experience breaking through mental blocks. So welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Kinley, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everybody a little bit about you and your sport and your level and that stuff.
Yeah. So my name's Kinley and I'm a level 8 gymnast and I am 10 years old. I do trampoline and tumbling and double mini. And I have a lot of hope for you guys too.
Amazing. And Allyson, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Allyson Warrick, and we are from Clovis, New Mexico. And we have had a little bit of a struggle going on, but we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Both
Awesome.
of us.
Yes. I mean, and that's the truth. And I think that's important for people to know, for moms and kids out there or dads and kids out there. When a kid struggles in their sport, it's a family struggle. It can feel really hard for everybody because everybody cares so much. So I think it's really important to kind of bring mom into the mix and talk about all the different changes both of you guys made to get to this hope place. So maybe we can start back in last April. This was maybe 9-10 months ago, when Kinley's coach gave you, Allyson, an article about mental blocks. So what was going on at that time that kind of got you down the Google hole of mental block research, probably like most moms?
Right. So it started when Kinley, she was tumbling and she did like 5 back handsprings, and I think she was even doing a couple of whips in there. And she was she was pretty powerful going down the tumble track, and she hit the wall. And by the time we got home, we didn't think she was hurt at first, but by the time we got home, we realized that there wasn't quite something right. So she ended up with a concussion. And
okay, hold on. Now this is literal. She literally hit the wall. I know people talk about she hit a wall, but you actually hit a wall.
No, she hit the wall. Yes. The actual wall.
Just to clarify, that actually happened. Okay, so she hit her head on the wall and ended up with a concussion. Is that right?
She had a concussion. And so kind of after that is when we noticed she really started struggling with tumbling. So she would do her back handsprings. She would do 5 back hands or 6 back handsprings, and then she would do a back tuck. But in the middle of her back tuck, she would just stop.
Yeah,
and she would just crash on the tumble track, and she would she would fall on her head, And so it happened at one meet, and then we she went to practice and everything was fine. And then we would go to another meet and it would happen again. And then it just got to be where it was happening every time. And so after that, we were like, okay, we're going to take a break, and we were worried about safety because she would just stop, and then I was afraid she was going to hurt herself. And so, after we stopped tumbling, she was still doing pretty well in her other 2 events. And then, but as the year went on, we hit this was in December when she had the concussion. By the time we got to February, she had lost her other 2 events, could not go backwards at all. And it was anything going backwards. So on trampoline, she couldn't do any of her back tucks, back pikes, back straights. She couldn't do anything going backwards. And then the same thing on the double mini. She lost her backwards skills on that as well. And so we worked real hard all year. And then we were kind of hit another wall. Not
figuratively.
Figurative wall, because we didn't know what else to do. I am totally guilty of saying, I'm not paying for this if you're not going to do your skills. And she would come home in tears and I'm like, her and we would really butt heads, and we weren't getting along with each other very well. And, it was really hard and it wasn't fun anymore, and she got to where she didn't even want to go to practice. And it was just really hard because this is something that she's been doing ever since she was 2 years old. I started her in a preschool class, and she's been doing it for a long time, and it's something that she's always loved. And so it was really hard to watch her just struggle so much and then feel there were times where I felt I'm like, this is it. It's over. So it was hard, and so Kinley's coach, we had a really great coach. And so she sent me an article of yours about mental blocks. And I was reading through it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds just like Kinley. This nails it, and so then I found you on Facebook and then I started looking at all the stuff you were posting on Facebook. And then I saw some free trainings and stuff like that. So I started doing that. And then the more I listened and learned, I was like, this is something that we need to try. Yeah. So then I signed up after that free trial that I listened to. And then she went through the whole program. She wanted to get better, so I think that was a good thing, to motivate to go through all of it, and we did all the training or all the videos and the challenges and then it just kind of started. Everything started
because I was still kind of having some and then when I started to talk to you, I think I just felt better about what I was doing. I think it was just I just needed to talk about it.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how just knowing you're not alone, knowing you're not broken, knowing that there's something somebody understands can be oh, phew, there's nothing. Because I know when I was a kid, I didn't think there was any hope. I was I'm broken. I was kind of at that moment where you guys were we're out of here. I actually got out of there. I quit because I didn't think there was anything that you could do about it. So, okay. So when did things really start to shift, Kinley, from your perspective? When did you start to notice that things were getting better at one point? In the gym, how did you know things were getting better?
Well, it's because so if my coach asked me to do it, I can do it. I couldn't say, I need help with it. So, because I knew how to do it, but my mind wasn't actually mental. It's just kind of this little thing. And so it's not my body, it's the brain.
Okay. So you were trying to do stuff You knew you could do it, but it wasn't happening. You were freezing up.
Yes.
Okay. And then when did you start to when did your body start to cooperate again?
Well, I really noticed it when my body started to cooperate is at regionals, when everything so exciting was happening, because I had like a school play and
You had a track meet.
Yeah.
So she had a bunch of like exciting things happen during that week, and she did really well. And so she was kind of high on confidence, but it was fleeting.
Yes, it was like kind of fleeting. And then the day for the mock meet came, and I could do it. Like it was like the strangest kind of thing.
We had we changed her routine. She had a routine, and she had like several backward skills in her routine. So we did have to modify that. So she didn't, on her trampoline routine, she did mostly front skills. She had one back skill in her trampoline routine. So she did have to conquer that to go backwards. And then on the double mini, they changed her passes to front skills only. So she was going forward, and she didn't have any problem going forward. It was only going backward. And so they did that because she qualified to go to nationals when she was at regionals. And then
so when I went to regionals, I did all the things that I could do. And then I won first place. And then we got back to the gym. I was doing super well and all of that. But I think what was happening is I was going way too fast. Because the first day when I got back, I was already doing back pikes on the trampoline again. And then the back straights the next day. And then after I did those back straights, it just something happened. And I just couldn't. Started feeling funny. And then I didn't know what was happening. And so then right after when I kind of lost it, I went back and went on steps, and then that I was jumping super low and all.
So the confidence ladder was amazing for us. We used that confidence ladder over and over and over again, and I really think that was one of the big tickets for her.
Awesome. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's basically, we chunk it down into baby steps. You start with what you can do. And for a lot of kids, what you can physically do is different from what you can mentally do. So you start with what can your brain let you do right now today, and you kind of build your ladder doing those baby steps little by little. So you did that. You went from can't do anything backwards to okay, I can do a backward skill. We can put together some forward skills. We can get you through competition season. But that wasn't good enough, right? You wanted to be able to go backwards still. You weren't I'm not giving up on this. And so then you kind of but then you made that mistake of going too fast, getting kind of excited. I think a lot of people out there, anyone out there who's listening, who has tried to push through fear, has probably had the experience of going too fast through the progressions and then feeling like you went back to square one.
Yeah.
Is that what happened to you, Kinley?
Yes. That actually did happen. And then after that, I've just kind of been more aware of just what if I'm going too fast. I'm making sure that if it doesn't feel good, I'm going to go back and do it all again, and probably try again the next practice. If that just still feels like I will go back and do it again and do the thing before it 1,000 times. And then I would have a coach there, and then the coach would back up, take a step, and all of that crazy stuff.
That is one thing that's been a little bit different, on the confidence ladder. It was go 15 times, and if you balk twice, you go back. But with her, I noticed it took 40 or 50,
100.
before we would go back up. But if you can stick with it, that really helped.
Yes.
Well, and that just shows, Kinley, something about you is that you are such a hard worker, that you did not give up. Was there any point where you felt like you were giving up?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. When was that? When were you like, that's it, I'm done, this is not going to happen?
One time at my old gym, I just wouldn't go for any of my backward skills. I just wouldn't do it. And so then I like started to get all emotional. I tried to get a drink of water, but when I got up to the line again, I just feel like like crying so hard because I couldn't pull myself together. Because like when I just get up there, I'll just start bawling. So then I went to the bathroom, washed my face off, but like I'm thinking to myself, I'm done with this. Like I'm done. But like I still want to be what my dreams want to be, but like I'm done. And so then I went back out. I finished the practice. And then I think the things with you to like help me get better. And so it's actually gotten really like, because I think I just expressed it. So I think it's just gotten better ever since I've been talking to you.
Amazing. Okay. So you had a moment where you kind of like hit rock bottom and were like, I don't want to do this anymore. But there was this bit of you that was willing, that still had this dream, that still must have believed in yourself even a little bit, that you were like, okay, I'm going to talk to this weird lady and I'm going to just see what happens. There must have been some kind of open mind about like, you weren't done yet.
Yeah.
I guess.
And another thing, because that didn't just happen one day. It was kind of a multiple days. So it wasn't just one. Don't really expect to have that one little moment in that one little moment. Expect to have it more than once.
Yeah. But that didn't really happen before we started the program. Once we started the program.
But I do remember.
Well, right.
Yes. Into myself.
Yes. But once you had started the program,
I've kind of I kind of let myself have more hope.
Yes.
Awesome. Hope is huge. I mean, that's everything. If you don't have any hope, it's like, what's the point? That was my story. I didn't have any hope. Nobody told me I could get through it, but you had hope. And you are a determined fighter.
Yes.
This I can confirm. And so then you got through your season, but you weren't like completely on top of the world yet, and we're working together. And what were some of the things you had to learn in order to really find your confidence?
Well, one thing I really had to learn is to love myself. That's one thing I had to learn. And then the other one is patience. And then the third one is that I have to trust myself, because I just when it happened.
Yeah, and I learned how to communicate with your coach.
Yes, communication.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there were a couple things I noticed in your journey. One of them was you were so patient with yourself, and that self-love of that. If I'm backing it up and doing 100 more on that rung on the ladder, then so be it. And I'm going to be nice to myself while I do it. And I'm not going to beat myself up. And we're just going to do what we got to do. We're going to back it up and get that spot. And in order to do that, though, you really had to communicate well.
Yes.
Is that something that always came easy to you your whole life?
No.
We're getting big no's from both of you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I remember, like, especially with like teachers and like new people, like I would say, hi, or something like that. But then, like, when I found my communication, I would talk more.
Okay. What and how has that changed your confidence in your gymnastics?
Well, one thing I felt like how it changed my confidence is that people are there. Like, there's more people that it's just not me. It's like everybody's gone through it, because my old coach said that like all of the high level, the ones that make dreams actually happen, are the ones that had to stumble.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't think of any amazing athlete who does not have a story of bouncing back. I mean, Simone Biles, hello. It happens to the best of us. Everybody has a stumble. And was that part of the hope? Like knowing, okay, I'm not alone. People are here for me. I can do this just like them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then, oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, and you had like a lot more help than we realized, like once she started opening up and, telling people what she needed, she got it.
Yeah. And then another quote that has really helped me is, so there was, I think it was a raccoon and a horse. And then there was this big, like, forest of some sort. And it was like really hard to get through. And the raccoon was saying, how are we ever going to get through here? There's no way how we're going to get at the end. And then the horse said that, look, don't look at the end, just look for the next step. So that has really helped me. So I don't really look at the end anymore. I just look for the next right step.
oh, it's such amazing wisdom, because it can feel really like if you're going from, I'm struggling to do a back tuck, but here I have this level 8 routine to put together. It can feel like you are walking through a big, huge forest. That's very scary and big. But if you just do the next step, which is, coach, can you spot me? Or could I try this? Or would it be okay if we go back to the tumble track?
Yeah.
And you can just do that next thing in front of you. And yeah, you might have to do 40 of them before your confidence builds up, but you're willing to, and you're just like, okay, what's the next thing to do?
Yeah.
And then confidence builds and builds. Okay. Now, Allyson, what have you noticed about Kinley's confidence in the gym, outside of the gym?
Well, she's definitely more outspoken now. So that's good. Which, I mean, I she was very quiet before, but like in class, when she needs help with something, she's not afraid to go ask for help now, and what I've noticed is how, I don't know how to say it. I've noticed her just kind of coming out of a shell more. And then I feel like she's much more aware now of what she needs. And so things that like I don't even think of, because her and I'll talk about things or how to handle a certain situation, or or sometimes she'll come back and she'll be like, oh, I already did it. I already talked to him about it, and we got it worked out. And I'm like, what? And then she does, so, and I see her being like in practice, like she's much more vocal. She'll
I don't get distracted as much.
No, that helps too.
Yeah.
But I see her like telling her coaches, she's like on her pass, okay, this is what I'm doing, and she's going to do these 2 skills, and then that's what she does. And then if her coach will ask her to do something, she might be like, and I think I'd feel better if I did this and this first, and then like they can work together back and forth, and then that way she can build up to what they're wanting her to do, taking her little steps.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I want to be able to have that conversation with the coach instead of, like when I was your age, I would be like, okay. And then I would try and fail because I knew I wasn't ready to do that yet. I would just try and fail and cry, fail, cry. That was pretty much my strategy. That was how I communicated. And then they would be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, I don't know. And so it's really hard to be a coach and be like, I don't know how to help you because I don't know why this is happening. And I don't know what you need. And you're standing there crying going, I don't know either. But now you've got this, I know what I need. I know how to ask for it. And I know how to ask again in case if they don't understand, or like, and that gives everybody a winning advantage, because then the coaches go, oh, I see. So if you try this warm up, you might be able to build confidence to try the thing I want. That's a lot better than you try, fail, cry, repeat. So everybody wins. Now, was it always easy, or the coach is always like, yes, ma'am, I'll do whatever you want?
No. That is a big fat N-O.
Okay. So how do you get through those spots where you think you know what you need, but the coaches have a different perspective.
Okay. So how I've been getting through it for right now is, so what I've been doing is just making up like ideas to just give to him and saying like, this is what I need, this is what I need, and like putting humor into it. So I'm gonna say my little hot ticket idea. So I actually said this. Hello, would you like to try a hot ticket? Well, I would. Okay, so this is how it works. Blah 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 blah. And so when I finished, it's like all like humor and funny. And then I say, that is how the hot ticket works. Do you want to try it?
I love it. You guys, like, just imagine this, the coach is like, just go do this. And you're like, well, I don't feel comfortable. He's like, that's fine. Do it anyway. And you go, coach, I got a hot ticket for you. Here's how it's going to go. Let me explain to you how my magical brain works in this world. And this is what it needs. And it's like, then the coach is laughing, probably like laughing his butt off because you're hilarious. And next thing you know, he's like, what just happened? And then did he let you do the thing you wanted to do?
He did that day.
Yes, he
did.
Yes.
Okay. And I love it because so often I'll tell people, come up with not just one idea to tell your coach you might try, but come up with 15, because then they know you care, you're trying, you want to find a progression that'll work for you. You want to cooperate with your brain. You want to make them happy. You want to make progress. You're not just standing there going, I don't know, and crying.
Yeah.
You are engaged, like your coaches must know how badly you want this. And you show them every day. And sometimes they're going to give you what you need. And sometimes they're going to think a different idea is better. But you also have the ability to kind of roll with it if that happens now too, huh?
Yeah. Because I've had some new coaches. First, you're going to have to get to know them, and you're going to have to they are going to have to get to know you, but you're probably going to butt heads for a little bit. But it's like, I did that for a little bit, and then he kind of started to lighten up, but it's still a little.
But she was very persistent.
Yeah.
So I think being persistent kind of helped.
Yeah. Because I kept begging him and begging him and begging him, and then just some days you're like, I'm done with this. Okay, we could do whatever you want to do.
Yep. Sometimes you just got to wear them down a little bit. But that's such a good example of, sometimes the coaches are not going to yield and they're going to say, no, this is what the assignment is. But you ultimately, yourself, you're very aware, you know what your brain needs, you know what the fear's telling you, you know how to work through it, you know how to build your confidence. So you can go in and talk to these coaches like from a place of being an expert of your own mind, instead of someone who's just like, I don't know what's happening and I don't know how to get through it. And I'm just going to stand here and cry. Like that's not how you play. You're in it to solve a problem. And it's so cool to see. So Kinley, what do you want kids to know who are struggling with fear? What do you want them to know?
Okay. One thing I want them to know, they are beautiful in all of the ways. And so the other thing I want them to know is that it's not going to be easy. It's just not. It's just, that's not how life works. And after you kind of get through it, you're going to be like an expert of whatever you do, and how to keep trying and not give up.
Amazing. And Allyson, what do you want moms to know who are watching their kids struggle?
There is hope, even when you don't think there is.
I know one.
Yes, go for it.
Don't get mad at your child when they don't do it. Don't. It's just going to make it worse, because that happened to me.
That was one thing I really had to learn. I had to learn to close my mouth.
Yes.
And so, and even now, I will ask her after practice. I'm like, well, how do you think it went? And then we go from there. And then after that, I don't say anything else. I just let her talk. And if she wants to keep talking, we do. And if not, then we stop.
Yeah.
And I don't I used to badger her, about stuff like, what were you thinking? What was going on in your head? And, all that kind of stuff. And so I've gotten to where I've really had to just take a step back. And
because it's actually happened here at my house and in the car.
and argue in the car.
We would argue in the car. And then like when I won't, like, because I had a trampoline out here. And so when I do it, she's like, Kinley, what are you thinking up there? Come on.
She would try on our trampoline in our backyard, and I would get real frustrated. I ended up just having to walk away,
But then when she like kind of shut her mouth, she like, I did my skills and I wasn't really mad anymore. So
I feel like it took a lot of the pressure off. It took a lot of the pressure off her, because she was trying to feel like she had to do everything by her coach's standards, by her standards, by my standards, by her dad's standards. And, it's like,
that sounds stressful.
Yeah. And so I just had to take a step back. And so like when I was listening to all the parenting classes, I would always show up with like muffins and after practice. So food, snacks, so, and just try to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. When all else fails, just feed them.
Yes.
Feed them and love them. That's all you got to do. That's like, if we just remember that as parents, feed them and love them, everything else is going to work itself out.
Yes.
And Kinley,
I was like, I do attend practice a lot more, because I have noticed that like, I want to know what's going on. I want to see what's happening. I want to see how she handles herself and that sort of thing. So I do. Well, now we're commuting. So, but before I was like, I want to go to practice. I want to see what's happening. And so I kind of got more involved because before I wouldn't stay for practice.
Because she had other things to do.
Yeah. But anyway, I started sticking around and watching it, and,
because like, say she would like kind of stay for like the first like 20 minutes, then she'll go and then she'll like come early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you're there, so you don't even have to ask for the play at the end.
No, and that's really kind of helped me, because I want to know what happened, and so that's why I would like badger her. I'm like, well, what? That didn't make any sense, or that sort of thing. And then
sometimes I don't really like those questions.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
I don't know a whole lot of adolescents and teens that really love those questions from their parents. I don't know. Well, what did you do? How did it go? Even my preschooler, when my 8-year-old was in preschool, I pick her up from preschool and be like, how'd it go? She's like, I don't want to talk about it, Mommy.
Right.
I just don't want to talk about it. You don't have to have a good reason. You're just like, I just did that. Let me not be there anymore. Yeah. Okay. So Kinley, what has been the biggest help from your mom? What has she been doing that you're like, yes, keep doing that?
Well, one thing is she still gives me hugs. So I'm good with that. You still need to keep doing with that. And then one thing, I think like I want her to still show up at practice still.
You like her there.
I just want her there to see. And so like, and then she knows what's kind of going on, and so she can kind of help me with it.
Yeah. And she's always in your corner.
Yes.
She's there for you. She's there for you, but she's not going to ask questions unless you want to talk about it. It's a really good balance. It's a really good balance. A little update, Kinley, like, where are you at now going into your next competition season? So did it work out? Well, tell us the current status.
Well, on double mini, it's like kind of like a mini trampoline. And so so when I went on double mini, I did a Rudy, and that's a 1.5 twist, and you're going frontwards. And then I did a double full, and a double full is like a back layout, but with 2 full twists in it. And I landed in the middle and I stuck it. And then on the tumble track, because there's a pit, I did a round off double back tuck into the pit. And then on trampoline, I got into a high branny tuck. A branny tuck is a front flip with a half turn, but sharp. And then to a double full. And I've gotten really higher, like really, really high on it now. And I know my pass. So yeah.
I feel like double mini, she pretty much looks like she did before the block came in. She's now able to do backward skills without a coach even standing there. She's able to go and do it all on her own, just like she could before any of this happened. Trampoline, she's doing all of her skills.
Yeah.
She's just struggling a little bit with height.
Yeah.
But I feel like every practice she gets higher and higher.
The only thing is, so like when I kind of start out with a front skill, I like my back tuck. A back tuck is a back flip, but sharp. My back tuck's like super high. And so, yeah.
So you went from doing no back skills on the trampoline to connecting into them, getting higher and higher every week, getting to the place where you've got do you have a level 8 routine that you could go compete right now on trampoline? Amazing. Mm-hmm. And then tumbling has been the one that's been slower to get back, but where are you at with that today?
Well, I've actually got at the clinic I went to, I got into round off big back handsprings to a back tuck and round off 6 back handsprings.
Not too shabby, my friend. So for anybody out there who's having that moment of like in the bathroom crying, thinking, why am I doing this? And mom's like, why are we doing this? There's so much hope. And I don't know about you guys, but from my perspective, I would say Kinley came out the other side a pretty awesome human. Not in spite of this, but because of this challenge, you're the kind of kid who could go out and do anything in this world.
And let me tell you something. A challenge is a success. Because if you're never going to have a challenge in life, if your life is just success, it's just, you don't learn how to do it. And then when you get to an adult, it's even harder.
Well, it's good. You are an adult in training officially, who can communicate, who knows what she needs, who can do hard things. So I am very impressed. So any last words for the kids out there?
Let me think.
I have one.
Oh, you have one? Okay.
So whenever this whole thing happened, we took a break from tumbling.
Yeah, don't take a break.
The break did not work. The only thing the break did, I feel like, is made it longer to come back.
Yeah.
So, because she was doing the other 2 events the whole time, and she regained those skills a whole lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that one. You got to just walk through the fire. So the sooner you start walking, the sooner you're going to get to the other side.
Yeah. And I have one more. Always love yourself, no matter what happens.
Wise words from 10-year-old Kinley Warwick. Thank you so much, ladies. This has been such a pleasure. I know everyone's going to get so much out of this. Thank you again for coming on and giving us your story today.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Yeah.